When I first got interested in Jyotish, I decided to go straight to the original sources. I bought the books and started reading. And here's what immediately threw me off. How can the same exact planet be both good and bad at the same time? The books say, Mars in Cancer is bad. Then right on the next page they say, the Lord of the 7th house and the 10th house is good. But that's the same Mars. And there were so many contradictions like this. About the signs, about the dasthanas, about houses, about the planets. Take the 6th house in my friend's chart, for example. In his 6th house, he has Mars and Jupiter in Capricorn. Mars in Capricorn is good. Jupiter in Capricorn is bad. Mars in the 6th house is also good. It helps you overcome your enemies. But Jupiter expands everything it touches. So does that mean he could get more enemies too? Back then, I was absolutely sure the books were correct and that the translation from Sanskrit was accurate. But I was missing one thing. A teacher. Someone who could explain how all these pieces come together in a real living chart. Now, so many years later, I want to make a video that will help new astrologers. People just like I was back then. I'm going to show you how I read an astrological chart. Maybe my perspective, my techniques, and my vision will be helpful to someone. I follow a principle of reasonable sufficiency. It's the 80-20 rule. You can get 80% of the information by using just 20% of the knowledge. But to squeeze out that last 20%, you need to put in 80% of the effort. So, on this YouTube channel, we'll mainly be working with 3 things: the Rashi chart, the Bhava Chalit chart, and the Vimshottari Dasha. Most street and village astrologers in India don't even use divisional charts, but they still know how to say enough for the client to walk away happy. Some astrologers only use the transit chart. For instance, out of all the transits, I only look at 2 of Saturn's transits, and often that's enough to explain the client's problems. In the end, every astrologer chooses what works best for them. Now, I'm going to list what I look at once a chart has been created. Later, we'll dive into each point in detail in separate videos. First of all, how does the person know their birth time? And how much can that time really be trusted? If the birth time seems doubtful, I ask about major life events, information about their parents, any injuries, anything that can confirm or refute that time. Only after that does it make sense to draw up the astrological chart. Next is the strength of the Lagna. The strength of the Lagna is the strength of the entire chart. If the Lagna is strong, people say that person was born under a lucky star or born with a silver spoon in their mouth. If the Lagna is weak, their quality of life and general circumstances will be average or even below average. Then, I look at which Grahas in the chart are benefic. They bring softer, more pleasant events and emotions, and which ones are acting as malefics. After that, I see which Grahas are strong and which are weak and can barely deliver on their promises. I always check the Vimshottari Dasha. I need to understand which Graha brought the person to an astrologer. When life is good, people usually don't seek out astrologers. They think their success is all their own doing. People come to an astrologer when things are bad, and they want to understand who or what is causing this, and when will this difficult period finally end. The Vimshottari Dasha shows exactly when and which seeds of karma are beginning to sprout. Just like a good doctor takes a medical history before an exam, a good astrologer must find out when the problem started. what kind of problems they are, and which house they relate to. A solid understanding of the nature of the grahas and the houses will tell you not only when it all began, but also when it will end. Next, I check which planets are close to the Sun and are combust. You can't just rely on the degrees in a table. There are nuances that can completely change the picture. I look to see if there is a planetary war in the chart. You need to understand the strength of each graha to judge its period correctly. I check for any significant yogas. There's a basic set of yogas every astrologer must check for right away. It's critical to immediately note if any planets are in Gandanta. There are 2 Saturn transits you absolutely must check. And in the end, I want to say this. Whether you decide to consult for others or just study astrology for yourself, you are one of the chosen ones. Not everyone is invited into God's kitchen. Not everyone is given the right to touch this knowledge of the past and the future. You're not just looking at the face of a clock anymore. You are beginning to understand how the gears work inside.